Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and I'll be talking about an armor regen Bulwark build for Space Marine 2 patch 13 using the fencing power sword and new bolt carbine one-handed option. Now on this build, we'll be building around armor reinforcement obviously and stuff like focus restoration to really keep our armor pretty high because armor is very strong against the Tyranid faction in this game and really any faction because it will damage cap against bosses and majoras, so really strong option for that. And also will be despite having a fencing power sword, we'll be using the intimidating aura perk here, which does give us a massive amount of damage on parry. And also, despite having a fencing power sword that has an overall low melee damage, we'll be picking up the perk here, Intimidating Aura first, because this will give us a tremendous amount of extra melee damage for free parries, so a really good synergy there. Now, on this weapon, I am going to be taking the top tree predominantly, and when it comes to the fencing power sword in general, I think this is one of the most entertaining weapons in Space Marine 2. The A+ speed here feels really nice, and when it comes to horde control, it is very strong against Minora swarms, and like usually a power sword and like a fencing weapon, that's what you wanted for in the first place. So first perk I take here is Armored Strength. If you have armor remaining, melee damage increases by 10%. Moving here into the perk Master of Offense. After you switch your sword combat style, you will deal 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds. The cooldown is 10 seconds. Now on this perk, we have armor pretty much all the time in this build, so a great option for damage. And this perk is very easy to trigger and also get like a power rake off. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength. Over here into the perk Momentum Gain. Each consecutive light attack increases light attack damage by 3%, up to 30% for 3 seconds. This perk is really not that strong, but we do pick it up to go into the next perk here, which is Patience Rewarded, or excuse me, Skilled Restoration. When your health is below 30%, a power whirl hit restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 10 seconds. Now, a perk like this, all you have to do is get the first hit of your power whirl. You don't actually have to do the full attack, so it better than it sounds initially. And also, if you do happen to pick up stuff like Steel Within or Conviction, being below 30% HP on a Bulwark really does not matter that much, so pretty easy to keep it up the entire time. Next perk here is Kill Streak, down here into the perk Hard Target for 15% less range damage and a light combo. And then we move here into the perk Cutting Edge. Power Rake deals 50% more melee damage. Now, on a power sword, you always take this perk. Even on the fencing version with a 12 strength, you always take this perk because a 50% melee damage buff like this is so damn powerful in this game, and even with like the low base damage, it's still very noticeable, so definitely pick this up. Final perks here are Extremis Slayer up here into Majora Slayer and Terminus Slayer, and then I pick up Power Restoration for double CHP recovery in our power style attacks because usually on this weapon, you'll be using power style against the Minoris anyways, and those are the guys that chip damage you and you want like a little bit more CHP regen against in the first place. Now, for the secondary weapon, we do take the newly buffed Bolt Carbine one-hand option. In patch 13.2, they did up the damage of this, or the base damage, I should say, by 15%, and that does feel significantly better, though I will say my main issue with this gun is that the perk tree and, like, variant choice is just kind of shit. There's really only, like, one real perk tree option, in my opinion, or, like, maybe two, and as far as the variant goes, you always take the magazine capacity and reserve option because this one just fits the weapon way better than accuracy, and losing magazine size and ammo, that's just pretty fucking dog shit on this gun, I'm not gonna lie. So for your perk selection, you pretty much have two options here, okay? You take increased capacity and extended magazine like I did, or you go down here for Divine Might and Adamant Hunter, and those are the only real choices on this weapon in my opinion, because otherwise you're gonna be going down here for stuff like Restoration, and these perks like Home Precision like all kind of suck compared to stuff like Elite Hunter, and of course Retaliation. So the next perk I take after this is Fast Reload, down here into the perk Cleaving Fire. Then we pick up the perk here, Retaliation. After your perk time dodge, you'll deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. And then we grab the next perk here, which is Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage, and non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. Because really, what you're building for on this weapon is like always headshot damage. I know that like Saber thinks that a perk up here like Victorious Restoration for killing 10 enemies rapid succession for one armor segment on a 30-second cooldown would be like super good if you had like body shot damage, but this weapon's damage against Hormicons and stuff like that still kind of sucks. So like you're not going to be triggering this that often. It's also a huge waste of ammo for one armor. So even on our armor regen build here, we do skip over that and just pick up tactical precision instead and go all the way down here for stuff like gunstrike reload. And of course the perk elite hunter, which says after killing a Majoris or higher enemy with a melee weapon, headshots will deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds, because this perk is just a top tier damage effect on this weapon and stuff like the auto bolt rifle. And the only other perk option up here is a 25% reduced spread while hip firing, which is like, I mean, okay, when you're barrel stuffing an enemy anyways, this gun's actually pretty accurate, so it doesn't matter in the first place. And this will also trigger on a melee execute, not just a melee kill, so much better than it sounds initially. And this is by far the best perk row to go after these first two initial options. And that's pretty much all there is for the secondary here. Now for the perk tree, we do start off with the perk here, Intimidating Aura first. A perfect time parry deals AoE damage within a 5-meter radius. The cooldown is 5 seconds. Now, the actual damage of this perk is like 190 plus, and to put that in perspective, a Tyranid Warrior on absolute difficulty has like 308 HP, so you're doing over half of a Majoris damage, or excuse me, a Majoris HP bar in damage on every single parry effect here, which is incredibly strong, and a 5-second cooldown with an AoE radius, that is kind of nuts, so definitely grab this. And like really with any 0-frame startup, like a fencing option or a block version, Intimidating Aura is just going to fit perfectly into that. It's one of the best perks in the entire game. Next perk here is Scramble Targeting. If you're surrounded by 5 or more enemies, you will take 25% less damage from range attacks. And then I move here into the perk Armor Reinforcement, a non-finisher gun strikes restore one armor segment. This perk is very strong on a fencing option. Now I will say, when you were fighting Chaos, I think Steel Within is a bit better, because against the Chaos faction you were fighting range attacks more often, like just parry opportunities. So Armor Reinforcement, while it's still strong, the damage nuking prevention from this perk is much better for that, but against Tyranids this perk is pretty peak. Next perk here is Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all team members automatically restore one armor segment. This perk is incredible in Space Marine 2 because armor restoration will just save your life at times. Any amount of armor remaining will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0, even from bosses. Like, let's say you have a tactical on your team that's already very squishy, or a tech marine that's also very squishy. Giving these guys more armor will make them way tankier, and Bulwark is also going to benefit from it himself. So really strong option there, though I will say if you want advanced conditioning, you can definitely do that as well. Next perk here is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies with its area of effect. Now, some people might want rapid regeneration, but I'll be real, this perk kind of sucks, and I'll explain why. Because this will reduce your duration of your banner to 10 seconds, and the base duration of the chapter banner is 20 seconds, so you are effectively cutting your banner duration in half, which is already pretty shit. And the 300% bonus restoration rate is nice, but it's really only nice against range spam, because like I said before, any amount of armor will stop incoming melee damage, so it doesn't really matter if you're getting like a tiny ass drip feed of armor on stuff like Purity of Purpose. And like this really is only to come into play against like a dramatic range spam, which really does not come up that often, especially in operations and hard strats. And for that reason, Purity of Purpose is just much better. And this perk also just puts out a ton of damage and synergizes perfectly with the next perk here, which is Glory Shield. All team members in the banner's area of effect take 20% less damage, and the banner lasts 20% longer. I mean, this makes you tankier in your banner, it makes your banner last longer, which means more armor and more Purity of Purpose triggers, so a really good option for that. If you want healing, you can take this one. If you want more damage, you can take this one as well. Next perk here is Inspiration or Rejuvenating Effect. This is up to you. You can really take whatever you want in this column. We're just taking the bonus damage here for fun. And the final perk is Armored Advance. If you have armor remaining, you do not lose 12 heavy hits and cannot be knocked back, because we are an armor restoration build, so having no knockback from this will be up pretty much 24/7. That's pretty much all there is from the main perk tree. Now, for our prestige perk options, I do take Auxiliary Reload first. Melee kills of extremist or higher enemies restore your secondary weapons ammo by 1 magazine. The bolt carbine here does have a pretty fat magazine size, especially with stuff like extended magazine, and because of that, you definitely notice the triggers here of Auxiliary Reload on this weapon. It definitely keeps you topped off quite a bit, so pretty good option there. Next perk here is Resilience. Medicaid tips restore 40% more HP. Moving here to the perk Overcharge, held and charge attack damage increases by 20%. This is one of the best melee perks in the entire game, and like even on a fencing power sword, you still notice the damage increase of Overcharge, so definitely grab this. And the final perk here is Powerful Shot for range damage increase of 20%. Now, you may be wondering, like, why the hell am I not taking Masterful Defense? I mean, this perk is godly, don't get me wrong, but, like, on this build, I am fighting Tyranids, and Tyranids don't give you as much range spam as like a Missile Terminator would against Chaos, where it's definitely better. But if you want to take this, you definitely can. I would just skip over like Powerful Shot or like maybe Resilience, but it's up to you. It's still a top tier perk effect. I just want to go for something like a little bit different today. And that is pretty much all there is for this build, guys. I mean, the Fencing Power Sword is super fun. The Bolt Carbine one-handed will probably get buffed again at some point, but for now, it's still a pretty decent weapon, and hopefully this build guide helped you. And if you like content like this, subscribe for more. And if you want to catch me live to ask me questions about the game or just come hang out, you can find me here on YouTube or on Twitch with a link in the video description. I'll also have a link to my PD Discord. And I also want to say a special thank you to my channel members. You guys make a huge difference and help me make content like this, and I really appreciate that. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye. Or like weekly strats, or normal strats. Stratagems and Siege. That's how you go. And also events. They should explain the sword types. They've done a horrible job in this game explaining anything to the player. Like, defense types in this game, like, if you're unaware, block will give you, like, 2 seconds of 60% range damage reduction on the perfect block. Will the game tell you that literally anywhere? No. You're like, okay, well, I guess it's like a little bit of a niche mechanic. What about the most fundamental part of the block weapon, which is, how does my block weapon actually fucking work? Well, let me tell you. The game sure as shit will tell you how, like, your block weapons work. It'll just say defense type block. And you're like, so imagine you're a new player and you walk in with defense type block. And you're like, okay, I blocked it. Why is there that dinging sound? Why is my weapon glowing? Oh, I just got armor back randomly. Is there anything in the game anywhere that will tell me how this works? No. Oh. I guess I'm gonna go back to fencing if the tutorial explained to me. FTG, what is your favorite guardsman regiment? Steel Legion. I only learned about block weapons because FTG told me in a video. Well, because the game doesn't tell you anywhere. It doesn't tell you. It literally tells you nowhere. You have to go into a probably 9-month-old patch note now to find out any information on block weapons. Pretty rude. And like the tutorial will teach you fencing and balance, so it's no shock those are the preferred items of the player base, because players will naturally prefer the weapon type they can actually, you know, learn about in the game. I feel like that's pretty standard, right? It's pretty reasonable. I know what this thing does. I don't know what X other thing does, so I'm gonna use the thing I know, because the tutorial taught me that and didn't tell me shit about the block weapon. Now this build we shit on Carnifexes.
Deploying fragmentation.
Should give us our headshot bonus. Club Inquisitor. Welcome, welcome. We're currently carbining with a first company. Like I say, the veteran sergeants rip with first company. Like, I mean, Ultramarines, they know how to drip. They certainly know how to drip. Is it the balanced relic sword? No, this is a fencing one. The one-handed carbine needs another buff. Oh, definitely. What the one-handed carbine needs, it needs an ammo buff to all its variants. It needs a slight damage buff, I feel, on the headshot multiplier. At close range, at least. Like, make it function. It might actually function like this already. I haven't checked. But make it function like the Bulwark carbine, where you get like a massive headshot damage bonus at close range. And then fix up the perk tree. Because, like, that's the main issue with the Bulwark carbine right now, is that the perk tree has no options. You have two good options, and the top row shit predominantly. Block, power fist, axe, for sword. How do you rank them? Exactly in that order.
Enough to demolish the bridge.
One-handed carbine heroics making a storm bolter. That'd be kind of cool.
Deny them any advantage. We still have supports to wire. We need more bombs. Our foes' wretched forces grow. Run! What's your footing? Supports the wire. We need more bombs.
Pretty get all of our ammo back off all of these rebels. Look at this. Oh, there's so many, dude. And now we're back to full off of like 7 experiments. How cool is that?
We still have supports to wire. We need more bombs.
That was a one-handed bull carbine now. It's okay.
We crush the ravenous brood.
The one-handed carbine currently has the same headshot multiplier as the bull carbine. Yeah, but does it have the close range 10-meter buff? I haven't checked that. I know that the bolt carbine gets a buff within it's close to enemies why it hits so hard. They put that in a patch note until you know we're in the game though. And that was like a year. That was like a year and a half ago they did that.
That silenced the Tunics' violence.
Oh, look at this. See, the power sword's pretty peak against like Minoris guys. Pretty peak. Random question for FTG in chat. If a new 40k book was added to Space Marine chapter from a chapter it doesn't need to be there, it makes sense that he's there. Would you assume Games Workshop's hinting at something? Probably. These days, definitely. Only because 40k is more interconnected now than it used to be, I feel. In terms of, like, the multiple forms of media. Like, if I see a Blood Raven show up in Space Marine 3, or excuse me, if I see, like, an Ultramarine show up in Dawn of War 4, and then talk to, like, a Blood Raven, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Blood Raven cameo in Space Marine 3 and that kind of thing. We already saw a Blood Raven cameo in Space Marine 1. Hey, what's your favorite gun in Darktide? The plasma gun, because I'm scum.
support is ready for demolition.
Well, then we may know the next Primarch returning. Which one's that? Recon Laskin is so fun. Recon Laskin is also like a go-to Marine Rod build in that game.
Hell, the Tyranid infestation.
Steve, I'll leave it the Prime. Maybe the mechanic was a big fuck up. That sucks. Getting body blocked by Hormigons into Devour spam is super fun.
I still have explosives to place, brothers.
Dude, you're that low in Bulwark. We don't have a, there we go. Restorative stims are fair. Because you're 30% HP, as long as you're not in a Rage Devour, you're pretty okay. You have a ramping damage reduction in this game at low HP, so between, like, that last 1% HP you have in this game, it has, like, 75% damage reduction or some crazy shit. Which means if you get that low, you're gonna be okay. I started playing like a month ago and watching a lot of your YouTube videos. It helped a lot. Keep it up. I always will, brother.
I still have explosives to place.
We're going all the way to Space Marine 3 on the old FTG.
Primed explosives. We are ready to ambush the target, command.
The Hive Tyrant will reach your position shortly. Join the Imperial Guard defenses up on the bridge and lure that Xenos Colossus into the kill zone.
You ever think of ripping off Asmongold in a drift contest? First of all, I don't think Asmongold came up with the idea of a drift contest in a video game. Second of all, we've already done a drift contest in this game. But I probably will. I'll definitely make some outfit guides. That sounds fun. People have actually asked me for that, which is quite an interesting idea. Wog, what's up, Nurgle Cultist? If drip's good, you're good. That's definitely how that works.
Astartes! We were not expecting such illustrious company in the rear ranks.
Do you think the block power fist after this? Probably not today.
That silence truly
First regards, man. Man here, and today we're talking about the Bull Carbine. No, wait, we're actually gonna be looking at the best drip build.
We've got a handle on these
Maybe.
strikes, my lords. It's the relay that's getting hammered right now.
The leader beast will cross that bridge, and in short order, die to our tactics.
That's news. Without armor support to tackle a target that big, we may have to bring down the supply bridge.
All elements needed are prepared.
Is this a withdrawal order?
Oh, the surcharge is only for block? Yes.
Negative. The objective is the Hive Tyrant.
If you want a full block, like defense type guide, I already have that on the channel. Here's how this works.
Understood, my lord. May the Emperor guide our lasguns to your support.
That should explain everything you need to know.
Show the Emperor's angels what we are made of. Swarms on the bridge.
More enemies on the bridge.
What do you think Space Marine 3 is going to be about? Think they're going to expand the Necrons? Maybe. It's probably mostly about Gadriel, Titus, and Sergeant Matoris.
They're stacking up.
I mean, I don't think the story of Space Marine is all that interesting, to be honest. It's just kind of like a very generic Space Marine experience, but it's kind of the point. So I don't know how much I actually care about what the story is. Unless there's some crazy shit like Primarchs. I don't know if I care too much about the actual story. I'm more interested in the gameplay and like outfit crafting. There any pets after you know. Well, given it's confirmed by this time, so Titus could have some interaction.
Keep your eyes peeled. The Xenos need a
I mean, I might see the lion too, you never know. You definitely look like Sanguinius, don't you? Not from Chop, dude. I just mentioned Gilman in the Primarch Worlds trailer. Well, it's kind of hard to be the captain of the Ultramarines and not ever interact with the Primarch ever. Like, you're like one step down from Chapter Master at that point, really.
Detonate the charges now.
Who's your favorite traitor Primarch FTG? Probably Mortarion. Probably Mortarion. Definitely not Horus. Definitely not, Conrad Kurtz.
Talassa here. Got the hive tyrant.
Definitely not Angron either.
He's not dead.
Maybe Peter Turbo. I like Peter Turbo a lot more than I like the Iron Warriors as like an actual chapter. Or Legion now, I should say.
Connection to the hive mind, but their focus is still on the relay.
Peter Turbo is definitely cooler than his actual Legion is.
Assessment. Enemy cohesion still in full effect.
I mean, I can't say my favorite like heretic Legion leader is Abaddon, but Abaddon's not a Primarch. He's just him.
Where shall I plant this flag? The target is still struggling under that wreckage.
Black Legion is Abaddon, yes. And Abaddon thinks that like Horus was kind of a pussy.
Fresh cartridge. Honor our captive color.
Definitely not Fulgrim, the guy who asked. I don't know, guys. If whoever's watching this, tell me what's your favorite traitor Primarch? What is everyone's favorite traitor Primarch? I feel like there are a lot of good reasons to like quite a few of them. I'll tell you, I bet every single traitor Primarch has more fans than Ferrus Manus.
Failed at Ultra.
Magnus is pretty interesting. Ferrus is undeniably the best. Damn. Fuck you, Iron Hands are my Legion. Ah, we found the one Iron Hands fan. Iron Hands are your Legion? I know you were a traitor. Legion? You mean Chapter? Inquisitor?
Relieve the hive giant of its life.
Pursue and eliminate. We will not have a better opportunity to finish it off.
rather than back on calling the third force. Enemy reserves incoming. And now, our adversary wishes to renew their assault. Deny them any advantage. That is not all. In your mind. Behold, this battle ready to.
Unless you have basically infinite ammo, tsunami coordinate called the summoner. Alright, is a Biovore here too? That's quite a toxic combo.
Fire on those mines. Blessed stand. Amplify our valor. Rearm.
That's the only downside of okay. Steel Within over. That's the only downside of Armor Reinforcement over Steel Within is that you are actually pretty squishy by comparison. Yeah, I probably should have seen that earlier, but oh my god, dude, this is more toxic than the entire horde was.
Reload. Caution. It may still attempt to ambush us.
I'm just going up the elevator because I'm actually just going to run out of ammo here. We're just going to run out of ammo if we don't leave.
Keep going forward.
Talassa, report.
I find cops free. Welcome in, AJ.
Continues to evade.
Talassa, you cut out. Lost the signal. Is that thing leading us into the dead zone?
Our duty remains unchanged. Forward. Fresh magazine.
Punishment for Ferris Slander. I mean, dude, Ferris Manus is just not that guy, okay? I mean, if he was that guy, he probably wouldn't have died so pathetically at the beginning of the heresy. Like, Sanguinius was that guy, and Sanguinius went out like him, you know? He was a him. Ferris Manus was a guy.
The Xenos leader be scales to build.
Alright, do I have the ammo to kill this? I don't think we do. I don't want to play it like a, what do they call it? Bitch, but I am a bit of a bitch, so I think I'm gonna leave. Let's just run that.
Fresh cartridge. For the Imperium of
Right, he separate. We're using the 20% buff we have here, by the way, on our banner. Kill this guy, and then we'll get one magazine back from this dude, and we'll use that to kill his friend. Look at your head, like perish.
Fresh magazine. Magazine exhausted.
Really? I think I can do this. Alright, there we go. So you can't hit them with Power Rig. That is an option. Much easier on the Xenophase, but Ferris slander will not be tolerated, dude. The Ferris slander has been tolerated in the 40k community for like at least a decade plus. Decades, really. Ferris Manus is the most Primarch ever. He is one of the Primarchs of all time. I think Winnie's had the drip, the skills, the hair, and the most badass death. And the best speech. Don't forget.
We crush the ravenous brood.
God, the fencing powers are really just like a super entertaining weapon to
Where
use.
shall I turn this man?
This weapon needs like one more pass on it, I feel. That's really all it would take to like really up the full carbine. He is top 18 primaries. Like I say, no Ferris Manus. People who watch YouTube shorts don't like Ferris, dude. I think way more people than people who like YouTube shorts don't like Ferris Manus. He's just kind of lame. He also died like right at the beginning of the heresy, which automatically puts him in like the bottom tier of having stuff to do during the heresy on account of being, you know, dead. Ferris Manus or Lorgar? I mean, that's actually, yo, who's lamer, Lorgar or Ferris Manus? That's a real question. It's an epic rap battle whole thing. Shit. Like, really, at this point, our weapon's more of, like, just a farming mechanism for our intimidating aura.
The creature is undergoing some kind of transformation. It just triggered every cyborg in my suit.
Ow.
Fresh cartridge.
Fucking cooked. I like how the Bulwark makes it look so much cooler than it actually is. The power sword, the speed power sword, the fencing version, it just feels good. It's entertaining to watch, you know? Even though, like, effectively all that boss fight actually comes down to is just, like, parry spam and intimidating aura trigger for damage. It looks cool. That's all that really matters, right? When is patch 14 coming out? Is there a rough idea? Probably next month. There's an anniversary patch coming up, so that'll be August for next month. Those two.